2022 Business Development Conference. Welcome. My name is Diane Leiden. I am a business outreach liaison for the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Services. And my colleague, Teresa Macias Ruiz, joins me. Teresa also serves as a business outreach liaison. So today, or this morning rather, this is a panel discussion. We've got some great experts here with us, and the panel discussion will be followed by an open question and answer session. I'd like to kindly ask, while the panel is speaking, if you could please have your video and audio turned off. And then when we go to the question and answer period, at that time, if anyone would like to ask a question of any of the panelists, you can turn your video back on and your audio, raise your hand, and we will call on you. Alternatively, if you'd like to just put a question in the chat, we will get to those as well during the question and answer period. So we will kind of hold all of our questions until after the panel discussion. Before getting started, I would also suggest, if you'd like to toggle your view at the top right of your screen, there's a view button up there, and you can toggle it to gallery view. If you're in speaker view at the top right in your gallery, depending on the version you're using of Zoom, you may already be in the gallery view. And this way you can see only the speakers and the moderators. So it's a pleasure. I just want to say it's been a pleasure to work with our strategic partner, the Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, in presenting these educational programs. And I would like to introduce Sandy Chaos. Sandy is the president and CEO and has been with this organization for 22 years. So Sandy, I'd like to turn it back over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Diane. I am excited about this morning's conference. It has been a while since we have hosted this series of conferences every year. And I see that our partners are the same. So I thank you. I thank the Department of General Services for its partnership and the mission of our strategic partnership with the California Department of General Services, Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Services. Assists small and disabled veteran businesses with certification and access to procurement opportunities through outreach, education, training, and advocacy. And that is exactly what we're doing now. I thank you again for our attendees and for our partners. Thank you. I would like to now introduce our moderator, Danielle Liu. And thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank you, Sandy. Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle Liu. I am the marketing director for Modern Times, Inc., as you can see from my background. But I'm actually here today on behalf of Links Constructors. And I am part of the inclusivity team for the small business outreach on the LAX Automated People Mover project. So I'm happy to be here. You can see up on the screen here who you're going to be hearing from today during the panels. We're going to give everyone a chance to introduce themselves, but maybe take a mental screenshot of this slide, and you'll get to hear from a handful of our experts today. And hopefully this is a really great opportunity for everyone to not only listen and learn, but also have the opportunity, like Diane mentioned, to ask questions at the end. We want this to be interactive. We want you to not be shy, to interact not only with us, but with other folks that are participating here today, and hopefully learn a little something new. So this is who you're going to be hearing from. And I'm going to just leave the slide up here for a second. If anyone is interested, here's contact information for DGS. For those of you who are certified through DGS, you probably already know this, but I'm going to leave this up for a second. If you want to take a quick screen grab of this with the contact information, you can do so now. And with that, we are going to go ahead and get started with introductions and today's panels. And I'm just also going to give a quick shout out again to all of our partners that Sandy mentioned. Really happy to have everyone's participation. And now with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to stop my screen share so that you can see all of our panelists' lovely faces this morning. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with some introductions. So I'm just going to have everyone, all of our panelists, introduce themselves one at a time. And I'm going to go ahead and pick on Wayne first.
Okay, Danielle, my name is Wayne Gross. I'm a business outreach liaison with the Department of General Services. And I've been doing this job now for 14 years.
Fantastic. Thank you, Wayne. Michael, go ahead.
There you go. Let me turn on my microphone. All right. Hi, I'm Michael Aguilio. I am the Chief of Outreach within the California Department of Transportation, otherwise known as Caltrans, in the Office of Civil Rights. My office is responsible for developing and implementing statewide outreach program, ensuring diversity and equity in the states and federal contracting programs. My office oversees outreach engagement strategies, external partnerships, communication, and contract goal compliance. I'm also the founding member of the San Joaquin and Sacramento Public Agency Consortium. I currently chair the Sacramento Agency Consortium. And these partnerships comprise of public agencies and small business assistance organization designed and fostering economic growth in respected areas. We're really trying to be engaged to ensure that you businesses here today find the information that you can use to be successful. So thank you for having me.
Welcome, Michael. Thank you so much. Carmen, we'll toss it to you next.
Good morning, and thank you, Sandy, for having Metropolitan again on to participate in your panel. My name is Carmen Bermudez-Bracey. I am with Metropolitan's Business Outreach Department. I've been with Metropolitan 26 years. However, I have been with the Business Outreach Department going into my 16th year. I am Metropolitan's Small Business Certification Officer, as well as the Small Business Contract Compliance, in which I run a CCAP program on the Planet Bids portal. Metropolitan supplies water to 19 million Southern Californians, and although we're in the water industry, we still purchase toilet paper, paper clips, a number of different products, not just large pipes. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Nina, why don't you go ahead?
Good morning. My name is Nina Marchance from the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, also known as CDCR. I've been with the department over 30 plus years, and I've been an advocate almost 10 years, and I love it. And just to let you know a little bit about the department, we have institutions, we have programs, so we really need you to be here today and think outside the box and get a lot of information out from the panelists today. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. And last but not least, Sashi.
Welcome to Long Beach. I say welcome to Long Beach because the Regional Hispanic Chamber is based here within the city. So I'm going to take a little self-centered pride in announcing that. My name is Sashi Morelli Darin. I am the SBE administrator for the Port of Long Beach. I've been a City of Long Beach employee for 24 years, 17 in this position, the first employee hired right after they started the program. So I've got my fingerprints on everything within the program. The Port does have a DBE program in addition to this SBE program, but that's run by a separate section. For those who don't know, the Port of Long Beach is really the harbor department of the City of Long Beach. We are the landlords for the port. We have a neighbor to the north of us. They have a small port too, I think. They do some activity. I think the city goes by the name of Los Angeles. But we are definitely one of the premier ports. We're a gateway to the Trans-Pacific trade. We handle trade valued at over $200 billion a year, supports 2.6 million trade-related jobs across the nation, 575,000 in the US. And I put a background picture up of a construction. I don't know whether it looks like some construction to you, but this was part of the Middle Harbor project that was started over 10 years ago and is now nearly completed. And they give you an idea we do heavy construction in addition to moving the containers. So we have, the last thing I'll say, because I know I'm getting long-winded, this program deals with contractors and vendors who help us build and maintain the facility. We also have a business development section that works with the businesses that want to utilize the port for their trade and their operations. So there's two opportunities for businesses to work with the port. And there I will stop. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, everyone. And as I'm sure you all heard, there is many, many years of experience on this panel, right? So everyone here has been working with their agency or in this industry for quite a long time. So you've got many years of experience on this panel. And so with that obviously comes a lot of wisdom. So Sashi, actually, I'm going to start with you since you were talking a little bit about what the port does. This first question is going to go to all of the panelists. And some of you already talked a little bit about what your organization does and some opportunities. But the question that I'm going to pose to everyone is, if you could talk about an overview of the opportunities that your agency or organization has coming up, and if you want to highlight maybe one or two big projects perhaps, or big opportunities that are kind of on the horizon, that would be great. And then how would a business get involved with you? How do they sign up to become a vendor with your organization? So Sashi, I'll start with you since you already started talking about that.
Okay, thank you. All right, so this is gonna, I mentioned that the working with the port, sometimes the businesses that attend these events and members of the RHCC, which I think is probably the biggest, maybe the biggest draw here, they work with the business development side. So I can't speak to that other than to say, if you are a entrepreneur that wants to ship cargo and so forth, you would reach out to that section. It's not my bailiwick. I deal, and the SBE program deals with the contractors and vendors who help us build and maintain the facility. So the one of the best places to go to find out what we are doing is to go to our business opportunities, to go to our website, polb.com, and under the business opportunities link, you will see the future work projects for construction and primarily engineering professional services. We have 20 some divisions. They all do their own procurement, but nobody does the volume in dollars that the engineering bureau does, and both construction and services. Now, don't be deterred. There's a lot of money. There's still millions in the other divisions. They just don't put it out there ahead of time. So get registered. The way to access, go to our website, go to get registered in our vendor portal. If you're not already registered there, we use the Planet Bids platform, like our partner at MWD. So if you're familiar with Planet Bids, you'll find it easy, super easy. If you're not familiar with Planet Bids, you'll still find it a pretty easy mechanism. And the last thing I will add is our board agendas. We are governed by the Board of Harbor Commissioners. They are not an advisory board. They are an actual governing board. Every contract that's over $200,000 has to be approved by them at their board meetings. We have 2 a month. The agendas are posted regularly. You can attend virtually. We're going to start in-person meetings again on Monday, the 24th. You can see the previous agenda. So if you want to see the kind of contracts that get awarded and to whom they get awarded, because those might be your future partners, both large and small, I encourage you to study those past boarded, current coming ones and past ones. Thank you. I think I said enough for now, Danielle. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Sashi. So we'll keep it in Long Beach, and I'll turn it over to Carmen and tell us a little bit about how a firm, if they're interested in doing business with you, what they should do.
Okay, I'm going to start with the second part of that question. If someone wants to do business with our organization, they really need to look at our website to see if we are meeting their goals of doing business with us, because each of the agencies represented here, you may not want to do business with them. But I highly recommend you go into each of our websites to see what the business program is about, especially the small business, if there are incentives, what services are they looking for? As Sashi mentioned, we do use the Planet Bits portal. I highly recommend you go in there and look at that. When you do go to our website, I recommend also that you use either Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge. There's no longer Adobe Acc Reader that went out about 2 years ago. There are a lot of opportunities. Sashi mentioned the board of directors. Our board also is a governing board of directors. So anything over 100,000 has to be posted. So when you go into our website, you will go into the bid opportunities to see what is posted there. That's over 100,000. Metropolitan has a small business program where it's mandatory. There's a 25% goal in construction projects over 100,000 that I monitor. Anything under that is won by a small business, I will not be monitoring. But the other thing is this, our procurement officers use our data, our small business data, or the database, because anything under 49,900 and 99,000, there's different levels of bids, does not have to be posted as a formal bid invitation. So our procurement officers go into the database, if you're there, and they look for maybe 10 vendors to fulfill a request by one of the departments. And so they have to have at least 2 small businesses and 1 that is not. There's a lot of opportunities there that you don't know about unless you're in our database. So I highly recommend that you get certified by us. We do use the Small Business Administration that sets the thresholds for dollars that a small business can have. They use a 3-year average. Manufacturing plant, they use the number of employees, but our certification lasts for 3 years. It's free, takes you about 30 minutes to do, and I highly recommend you get into our database. There are other questions which I will go into a little bit more about your incentives as a small business for Metropolitan. So I'll leave it at that.
Perfect. Thank you, Carmen. So far the trend is to go on the website and get registered. I'm sure you'll hear that multiple more times today, but that is typically the very good first step for everyone. So we'll go ahead and turn it over. We're going to pull it back to the state. So let's go ahead and turn it over to Nina to talk a little bit about how interested firms can get working with the state.
Good morning. Okay, I'm going to go on the second part of the question first, and I'm going to piggyback on Carmen. So with the state agency, CDCR only recognizes the state certification from DGS. So the first thing is to get registered as with your state certification, your SB, DVB, or your Small Business Public Works. Our portal that we use for solicitations is DGS, is Cali Procure. So make sure you're familiar with Cali Procure, because you can see upcoming solicitations, you can review past purchases. So it kind of gives you an idea of what CDCR has been purchasing. Market your business as CDCR. How do you market? Well, one of the things that you can do to market your business is create a 1-page capability statement. So that tells us what you're going to present to us, what your business can do. Make sure your certification number is on there. You're going to hear a lot about certification and your number, so make sure you know that. Get to know the advocate. So I'm the statewide advocate of my department, but each institution has an advocate liaison. Get to know them. You've got to know your advocates, because in those institutions, they know what their buying needs are. So I can always provide you with the list. So let's go back on some of the opportunities. On a quarterly basis, we're looking for someone who can do a certified business, someone that can do paper towels and toilet paper. Why? Well, think about it. We have the institutions, we have inmates and employees there. We need veterinarian services because we have canines, construction, a lot of roofing we need, medical services. So some of those things that I mentioned, keep in mind. We have some upcoming solicitations that sometimes you may be surprised is cremation services. Why? Well, that kind of says it all. We have staff medical monitoring services, crane rental, bar screen waste removal services, food and green waste material disposal. And I could go on and on and on because I do have a list. So think outside the box when you're thinking about CDCR and doing business. Think what you can do for us. Again, I'm going to go back, make sure you're certified and be familiar with Cali Procure, and go check out our website because it's going to give you some information. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Perfect. Thank you, Nina. How about Wayne? We're talking a little bit about Cali Procure here, so maybe you have more to add.
Okay. Everything that has been said before, ditto. Okay. But caliprocure.ca.gov is where you need to start if you want to get certified with the state for small businesses and or disabled veteran business enterprises. It's a very simple process. Most of the time with small business, you put in all your information. If you meet all our standards and you hit submit, you get congratulations. With the DVBE, unfortunately, a certification officer must review your application. With all that said, we have, if you go to dgs.ca.gov and in the search engine, put how to do business with the state, and you go to the first link, which is how to do business. The fifth heading is upcoming solicitations. And there are 18 agencies who monthly update their link of what's coming down the pipe. And I just want to talk about, there's a, where is it here? For 2.25 million for control access and CCTV system upgrades for the LA area. I think that's a pretty nice one that people would like to have. There is also one for maintenance and repair of elevators, escalators, and wheelchair lifts for 5 million. And right now we have in our database, snowblower, single and dual engine. We have tires, pursuit, passenger car, light, medium and heavy duty truck and buses. We have front end loaders. And finally, motorcycle law enforcement. If you, like I said, if you go to dgs.ca.gov and in the search engine, put in how to do business with the state and click on that first link, and you have all the information you need about our programs. And the fifth one is upcoming solicitations. And I could talk on for the next 3 hours, but I think I'll just leave it there.
Fantastic. Thank you. And I also should mention, you get a lot of emails if you sign up with your NAICS codes, and you get the notifications that come into your inbox if there's a solicitation that matches what you're looking for too, right? So if you do sign up, you do get certified, you're a vendor, you should receive those emails depending on what's available out there. You should get the emails that say we're looking for XYZ, right? So they'll also come to you in your inbox if you're signed up correctly and have all of your things in line. So,
but if I could correct you here, Danielle, it's not NAICS codes. That is the federal codes, the North America Industry Classification System. We use the UNSPSC codes, the United Nations Specialty Product Specialty Codes.
Got it. Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and round up this first question with Michael. How can a firm who's interested get connected and do business with your organization?
Well, I guess there was two questions in that one. One is, how does someone want to do business with our organization? Well, I work for Caltrans. Caltrans is divided into 12 districts, and there's one or more what we call district small business liaisons. One of the things that you can do, and I'll put this in the chat, is contact our DSBLs, as we so call them, to find out what's happening in their district. The other thing that you can do is everything that has said previously. Get registered in the appropriate databases. Unlike the state, well, as a state as a whole, Caltrans is a little bit different in the sense that we do have a small business and disabled veteran business enterprise goal that all state agencies are required to meet with the now AB, it was that 2019 passage. But more importantly, or as importantly, we also have what we call a DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Goal, which is 22.2% of the department's spend. So what that means is we're looking for minority-owned businesses, women-owned, LGBTQ-owned. So we have that really no other state agency has. So we have 3 certifications that we're looking to fill in regards to our goals. So how does one, as it gets to do a business organization, one is you got to do the background work, find out what we're doing, and in that case, also reach out to the DSBLs. There's one way of doing this too. You got to do a little bit of reverse engineering. If you want to know what we're doing or who's actually buying, you can go into the DGS website and they have what they call skippers, the state contract procurement registration system. Shows you who bought what, so you can reach out and make contact with the potential buyer. Or in this case, and I'm going to talk more about this later, they have what they call a dashboard, and that'd be a preface of what I'm going to talk about. But the other thing that is important is that we're talking about opportunities. Now, one of the things that we have a list of opportunities in all of our districts. These districts have a list of everything that is coming up. One of the things that you can do that minimizes your search function is that DGS has a upcoming solicitation page. This page allows you to look at all the different agencies that report what's coming on, what's going on. To simplify that process, we'll put that in the link as well. So it'll list all kinds of things that you can look at, not only for Caltrans, but for many other state agencies. Now, here's one of the things that I wanted to mention in regards to opportunities that the state, or at least Caltrans, has right now. Caltrans, working with Department of Technology, is bringing broadband to the state of California. So what we're going to try to do is we're building what they call the Middle Mile Project. It is a $5 billion project where we're going to lay the foundation to the rest of the state so that we can connect via broadband. So that's one of the biggest things that we have going on right now. If you haven't heard about it, you might want to go to our webpage, caltrans.ca.gov, and look that up. There's a lot of opportunities there. That's one of the biggest projects we have right now, along with all the other things you may see on the side of the freeway as you drive and wonder why there's so much traffic, because we have a lot of infrastructure happening right now. So that's what I got in regards to those 2 first questions.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. I hope everyone is taking notes and has figured out how to get registered with each of these agencies, because there's a lot of opportunities out there. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next question then that we have prepared. So let's say fast forward, a business has registered, is registered with each of your agencies. What would you recommend a business owner focus on to prepare their company to do business with you? So I'm going to go ahead and you know what, Michael, let's let you have the floor again. We'll keep it going with you.
Well, okay. Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Okay, so one of the things that you can do as a business owner to focus on preparing to do business with Caltrans, or in a matter of fact, Caltrans is a part of the state, is that you have to do some research. You have to do some work yourself. And one of the things is to find out what each agency buys. You know, the state of California is huge. We're the 5th largest economy in the world. So we have over, I don't know, I just looked at it, 200,000 employees with the annual receipt of, well, at least DGS tracks about $10 billion of contracting every year, give or take. Nevertheless, what we got to do is you got to look at what each agency buys and identify who you should market directly to. So I have, and I'll share this all with DGS and of course RHCC so that they can share all these links. The other thing is, of course, we encourage you to get certified. Certification brings you a lot of benefits, as 5% bid preference, Prompt Payment Act, at least if you're a small business, and or DVBE. The other thing that gives you is that for our case, the DBE certification, Like I said earlier, we have the 22.2% goal to reach. So certification is a huge start in where to focus or prepare to do business with our companies, our businesses, or the state as a whole. The other thing that I mentioned just previously is that you got to look at historical data. So if you're going to do research on what you sell, are we buying what you sell? Well, there's a way to find that out by looking at historical data. Caltrans, DGS has all that information for you. All you got to do is know where to find it. You do the research to find out where, how, and why will make you really successful. The other things that I'll have a little brief thing is that there's a whole bunch of resources that we have for you as well, which I'll talk about coming up.
We'll be on pins and needles waiting for that. Perfect. Thank you, Michael. Let me see. I'm going to just kind of go back in reverse order here. So Wayne, how about you? What can a business owner focus on to prepare their company to do business with you?
Okay. Know who your audience is. Find out who is buying your products, and have what we call the 30-second elevator speech, which all the advocates have been trained by either me or my peers. Your full name, your company name, your certification number, and what you do. If you can't impress us in 30 seconds, an hour meeting with an advocate isn't going to do you any good. Along with that is your capability statement, which Nina had mentioned before, a one-page summary of what your company can offer us. There are 3 rules on that. 1 page, make sure you have your certification number on there and your UNSPSC codes, and we call the parent codes and their descriptions. And I'm offering free services to everyone who is listening. My email address is wayned.gross. That's WAYNED.GROSS at dgs.ca.gov. And I'm offering, you send me your capability statement and I will I will correct it to make sure that you are marketable.
Very good, everyone. Please take advantage of that. All right, let's toss it back to Nina, because Nina also mentioned the capability statement. So anything else you want to add to that, Nina?
Yes, so do your introductions to the department like Wayne was saying and know your information. One other tool that you can, would be helpful since the pandemics, DGS created another portal, which is the Small Business DBB Emergency Registry. That is another tool for you. So if you can supply the goods or services on an emergency basis, you just need to be currently ready and able to do that. So that's another tool. Attend outreach events like this one, virtual and in person, because you're going to get so much information. If you didn't get the information the first time, maybe the second time around, you'll go, oh, now I know what the advocate is talking about. Again, I'm going to say, learn your Cali Procure, review the past purchases of the department that you want to do business with. Get to know your advocate. They are the first point of contact for the departments. We are such an important position here. Utilize us, ask us questions, and what we cannot answer or we cannot do for you, we will give you other resources. So just make sure that you're ready to do business, do your homework. Thank you.
Excellent. That has been repeated multiple times. So definitely as a business owner, be prepared, I think is the bottom line here. So perfect. Thank you, Nina. Let's toss it back to our Long Beach folks. Carmen, how about you? What can a business owner do to prepare to do business with the Metropolitan Water District? Oh, and Carmen, you're on mute.
Okay, Metropolitan does have its own certification process. The Department of General Services, the state of California, has no reciprocity with anybody. They do not accept anybody else's certification. We accept the Department of General Services certification, but we want you in our database. And the reason is this: there are special events that we host. We have the Connect to Met, which will be taking place, I believe, in February. There's special events for small businesses. We had in the past Connect to Vets. We currently are running a special series for our MetWorks for construction workers. So you won't know about these events unless you get registered in our database. As I mentioned, we do have reciprocity with the state of California, but for like Caltrans or the State Department of Corrections, we do not accept their certification. So you need to do your homework about that. I did mention about there is a 25% small business goal in our construction that's mandatory. So those bids are posted. The other thing is we do use a lot of professional services, GPS, photography. So if you provide those services, get into our database because those bids are posted. The smaller bids, like hand sanitizer, during the time of the pandemic, we were looking for someone who could provide enough hand sanitizer, mask, and so forth, and everybody was running out. The ones who came through and supplied these urgent materials were the small business. Who were in our database. We were able to tap into them and get masks into our different facilities quickly. I can't tell you enough how important it is to start with the registration process. Look at their agency's website. Michael and Wayne talked about a lot of the same things that apply to our company. Do your due diligence, keep your papers in order, because if the procurement office is going to look for a small business that's going to compete with someone else for a bid that's under $49,999, they will connect with you. They will ask you, can you do this? What is your shipping delivery like? Who have you worked with in the past? What's your history? If you need special bonding, certification. So that way you as a business owner have all those documents ready and handy in your file so that you're ready to do business with any of our agencies. Make sure that if you're an LLC that you got everything registered and your business is legitimate, because we do check your background. So it's important that as a small business owner, I know you're anxious to do business with our agencies, but make sure that you can do business with us. You can supply the product we're looking for. You can deliver it on time. So, and that's pretty much it for this question.
Excellent. Thank you, Carmen. And Sashi, well, we'll end it with you for this question.
All right, thank you, Danielle. So repetition. I echo everything that my colleagues have shared, and will add that, and maybe this is also a repetition, I don't know if I said it earlier, we have a 27% annual goal, of which we want to see 5% go to very small businesses. So our commissioners created a additional category when they started the program, because we cannot have a local business incentive preference set aside, because the port is not only governed by our city charter, it's governed by the state. It's a duality that we have. So we follow the federal guidelines for small business certification that we issue. Again, MWD and the port, we use the same guidelines, just in our different portals. The VSBE mirrors the state's micro business certification, if you're familiar with theirs. So a little different title, some commonality though, to help bring some of this stuff together for you. On that 27% goal, the last 5 years, we have exceeded 30%, with the most recent for fiscal year 21, we exceeded 40%. So that should be some incentive for you that our program is real. We're finding you guys are finding us. As far as for the port, for majority, again, that I mentioned, is in engineering related. So it's our contractors and our consultants that you need to get to know, and who the relationships that you need to build. Because if it's a project that is not small enough dollar-wise for an SBE to be a prime, which we do have a lot of, so there's opportunities for you there. You're gonna come on board as a sub, excuse me. So these larger construction projects are typically carried by larger firms, they're going to have a 27% goal, give or take. We look at each project individually, but we wouldn't be exceeding 27% if we weren't hitting that. So it's your capability you want to sell to them, and then you can drop, once you've convinced them of your capability, then drop the certification. If you, in our agency with some of these larger firms, I get the feedback that if you're selling the certification first, there's a preconceived notion of you as a business that gets defined by the recipient of that elevator speech. So sell your capability first, and then you can say, oh, by the way, this project that you're bidding has this X amount of goal and I can help you meet it. So those are hopefully the enhancements to what you heard from everybody so far, so that I didn't have to repeat everything they said. Thank you.
Just to comment, that exactly what you should do. It's not a matter of if you're certified small or if you're category in some kind of I don't know, social economic. What you need to do, and I have to totally agree with you, you have to sell your capabilities, and then the others will come. The capabilities first.
Thank you, Michael.
Excellent point. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. That's great. And if you don't have your capability statement yet, reach out to Wayne. There's your plug one more time. So excellent. This is really, really great advice to everyone here. So I hope everyone is listening intently and taking notes. So now our next question I want to pose to the panelists is, let's say we have a business that has so far completed all the steps that you all have mentioned. They're registered, they've done their homework, and now they are going to bid on a package. Next to them are 3 or 4 other very capable firms that are also bidding on the same package. So the question is, how can I, as a business owner, make myself more competitive? And let's start with, let's start with our state folks again. So, Michael, how can a firm make themselves more competitive?
Well, I think, being more competitive, one, of course, Sashi had said it earlier, if you're going to sell yourself, make sure you can sell what you're capable of doing as opposed to your socioeconomic status. You know, I'm a minority owned or I'm a DVB. That's great, but that's not what we're looking for. Because ultimately, when you go down to bid, we're looking at the most capable person of doing the job, and then we add on the others. Okay, so first step first. But here, to take advantage, how do you make yourself more competitive? I would suggest that you take advantage of no-cost resources. So for instance, you've got SCORES, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping small businesses get off the ground. And what they have, which is really, really unique, is they have a mentor protege program per se. So where they pair you up with the person that's used to be in your shoes so that you don't fall in those pitfalls. Then of course you have the small business developmental centers. They're at no cost consulting. They train new and existing businesses. And of course, you got the procurement technical assistance center. Now, the reason why I bring these up is that if you want to be more competitive, what you can do is, one, they can help you with your business plan, your capability statements, all the stuff that you need to put your best foot forward. And that's what you want to have, is competitive edge. These organizations can help you with that edge. You have to have a really good business plan so you know where you're going to go. You have to have a great capability statement so people can see what you do. You have to understand how to bid on certain projects. All those things they help you with. So, if you want to be more competitive, you got to know the ins and outs of how our agencies accept bids, how they're supposed to look like. All that is important, and that's how you're going to be competitive. Now, use these resources to help you. Before you bid, you should actually show them, hey, look, this is what I got this thing here. Does this look good? What do you think? They can help you with all of that. They can help you to make sure that you have finances in place. They can help you with, oh no, you forgot to sign this document. these organizations, as well as Wayne, looking at your capability statement, can help you become more competitive when you're placing or trying to place yourself in front of other people and or placing the bid with our organization. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. But what I'm trying to point out to is there's really a lot of resources that can help you be more competitive. Use them because you don't have to pay someone to do that. They're available to you. I'll put those links in the chat. I'm sure that Teresa already has those to those individuals, but use no cost resources that's available to you that can help you be more successful.
Excellent. Yes, there's lots and lots of resources out there. State, your local county, even local projects will often offer free resources. So excellent, excellent advice. Wayne, we'll toss it to you. What would you say to a firm that wants to make themselves more competitive, aside from coming and getting your free advice on capability statements?
Okay. Well, the key here is free. All the agencies that Michael just mentioned, and I'm going to list them again. And Teresa, if you can put it in the chat, the SBA, the SBDC, which is a Small Business Development Center, the PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and SCORE. All four agencies are there to help you. Unfortunately, the state doesn't do that type of service, if you will, but those four agencies are there to help you. And I can't ask. You'll find, especially if you are in the San Diego area, those four agencies are alive and well. They are throughout the state too. But again, you can't beat the price. Free. So use them and literally abuse them. That's what they're here for.
Excellent, thank you. And I hope everyone is jotting these down because these are excellent, excellent resources. Let's turn it to Carmen. What would your advice be to a business owner that wants to make themselves more competitive?
Unmute. I'm sorry, I'm having a problem with unmuting. You can hear me now?
Yes, we're good.
Okay, the video won't work for some reason.
That's okay. We can hear you. It's okay.
Okay, I totally want to piggyback on what both the gentlemen have already said. There is SCORE, there is SBA, there is SBDC, PTAC, and so forth. There are a lot of programs for Hispanic women. There's programs for the Filipinos. There's program for the Asians, and on and on and on. That, as he mentioned, the word free. It's free for you. And so there's even the 10,000 businesses with Goldman Sachs, and which is a I'm sorry, it's telling me that I cannot do my video because the host has stopped it. Okay, so there are a lot of programs out there. You've got to keep your paperwork all in line. I can't emphasize enough how these agencies will give you free services and tell you exactly what you need. Met doesn't usually do business with a startup. You usually have to have a history of at least 3 years. So if you think you can go to an agency like Metropolitan and say, yes, but I can supply you with this product and blah, 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 and I can meet your delivery. But if you don't have any proof of that or know how to do that, you're going to fail. You will fail. And all these agencies will give you such valuable information that that will help you so much. The part, and on the vendor side, you have to be diligent and faithful and regularly attend these programs, because if you hit and miss, or if you don't really make a commitment to attend these programs, it's not going to benefit you. So writing back with Mike and with Wayne, what they said is all true. The services are free. The SBA, the SBDC provides a number of programs. These loans that just went out during the pandemic, and I know small businesses that had received $20,000, some $15,000. They wouldn't have known about these loans to struggling businesses during the pandemic if they didn't tap into the SBDC or the SBA or SCORE, or they wouldn't have known a lot of this stuff. So There's stuff out there for you that will enhance your business. Maybe give you some ideas how to do better delivery systems. There's a lot of information out there, but you got to do your due diligence as a small business owner. And there's a lot. Small business owners have a lot of things to do to make their business productive. That's it.
Excellent. Great.
Daniel,
Yes,
this is Wayne. Can I just make a point here?
of course.
People,
Please do.
those 4 agencies are free. Michael has said it, Carmen has said it, and I'm repeating it one more time. These are people out there to help you get those contracts.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. How about Nina? Anything that the previous panelists haven't mentioned yet that you can add?
Okay, I'm going to emphasize know the department that you want to do business with. Go into Cal eProcure and look at the past purchases for those items, those goods or services. Let me give you an example. CDCR has a quarterly solicitation for paper towels and toilet paper. Go back, if you can provide that good or goods, go back into our history and see what the price is. Who won it the previous quarter, the quarter before that. So it's going to give you an idea about your bidding process. All this is free for you. You can look into the eProcure. That's what it's there for. Utilize that portal. And let me give you a twist on it. So you looked at all that, and now you're going to do your solicitation, but you've got to make sure when you're submitting your solicitation, you're signing your document and you're providing everything that you can provide. That because you can submit your solicitation and you forget to sign something, or you forget a document. Well, you're not being competitive because you did not do everything you're supposed to. And I'm going to go back at the end of this and say what everybody else said. Use those free services. Go on their websites, go on their outreach events. You're going to learn so much. They're there for you. If you're not utilizing it, somebody else is. And doesn't everybody like free services? So use those free services. That's going to help you. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, and Sashi, we'll wrap it up with you. Anything else you want to add here?
I think you pretty much covered everything. The one thing I thought of was a business plan. If you engage with these free resources, again, these free resources, the number one thing that I hear coming from the colleagues there is, do you have a business plan? If you don't, you need to write one. We're here to help you do that, because that'll lead to financing. Because if you get a contract, do you have the financing to carry that contract? A lot of vendors find out they don't, and they find out too late, and they can't carry the contract. These guys are there to help you outline what you need to do on the administrative side of your business. That's what a business plan will map out for you. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent advice, everyone. Yes. I actually do have one thing maybe to chime in on from the prime contractor side that I'm just going to throw out, and since I'm talking with all agencies here, you all can veto me if you want. But one thing that, from the prime side or from like the subcontractor side under a prime is, if you're submitting a bid and you're unsuccessful, there are steps that you can take to speak with the agency to find out why you weren't successful. And that would be requesting a debrief. And again, agencies, panelists, you guys can jump in if this is not good advice, but as a sub, a certified sub, you are entitled to request a debrief and talk with the agency and ask, they can tell you certain things about your proposal, perhaps, that were not quite as competitive as the person who won.
And Daniel, this is Wayne. May I add something?
Sure.
Yes. With the state, you can ask that for any debrief, but also ask for the winning quote.
Yes, that too. Absolutely. Yep.
You learn probably the most with that.
Well, I
Mhm.
think we got to back up because what you had said that is that subs to a major prime. To be honest with you, we only deal with the prime. When it comes to the subs, we don't look at the contracts between the subs and the prime. Okay, so in other words, if we want to see what they put to the primes and you want to debrief, we don't get involved in that per se, only if there is a dispute. Okay, so however, anybody who bids on any state contract, most of them are, in this case, probably a lot of small businesses, but even the primes, anything that you bid on, you can get a debriefing on that particular solicitation or bid, if you will. But contracts between primes and subs, that's a whole different story. We don't evaluate those. We don't look at those. And here's my caveat to this, is that if you are going to be a sub to a prime, you have to make sure that whatever agreement that you're entering into is one that benefits you as well as the prime. Because in all cases, we don't pay subs directly. We pay the prime pays the subs. That's how the state works in operational purposes, unless there's a subcontract in there indicating that we're going to pay subs. But that's not even contracts with the primes. There are subcontracts that we are entering in with those subs that now become primes. So I just want to make sure that we understand that contracts are only evaluated, or we have information to be debriefed on ones that are submitted directly to the department, not the ones that are between two agencies or two departments or two businesses as subs and primes. We don't, state doesn't do that.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification, Michael. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on into our panelists. We're going to go about maybe another 10-ish minutes or so. We've got 2 more questions to go, or we can probably go a little bit longer if there's not a ton of questions that have come through yet. So the next question for our panelists is, and some of us have already touched on this, so this might be a shorter answer if you already have gone through some of the details, but what are some of your special small business or local business programs? So Sashi, since you went last for the last question, I will toss it to you to answer first today for this one.
All right. So again, this is good repetition. We have our small business program, which has two components, if you will, as far as certifications: a small business and a very small business element. You qualify as a small business. We issue a certification for that. If you're also fall under the very small business qualifications, the system will automatically assign that status as well. It'll exist in your account. You will not get a separate written notice. That's the most common question we get with that. So you won't get a second VSBE certification notice. You'll have the SB one, but it lives in your profile, and anybody else who goes in looking to meet the VSBE portion of the goal, they can search by VSBE. They'll see that in your account, and that's how it's validated. The port has a history of accepting federal grant money on a limited basis, but we're exponentially increasing that with the expansion, our rail expansion. And by that, I mean $1 billion over the next 10 years or so in rail that we're going to build. And we've already started getting a lot of federal money, grant money for that. And we're going to continue to seek that. And that money is coming typically with DBE, disadvantaged business enterprise goals and requirements. And we have a grants manager who manages that program. It would be evident in the procurement if it's got a DBE goal versus an SBE goal. The certifications are done by our friends at Caltrans. I don't know if Michael can speak to that. And I think LA Metro may do that as well. And so those are the 2 programs that we have: SBE, DBE. The SBE program is mirrored after the DBE program, so they're very similar, but they just had different guidelines to adhere to, so they're not combined at this moment. And that would be, that's pretty much, that's what we have to offer as far as specific programs. Thank you.
Excellent.
I just
Thanks,
wanted
Sashi.
to answer Sashi's question. Yes, Caltrans is one of the certification agencies for the DBE program. And of course, there's several others. You can actually look that up online. I'll look it up for you and see if I can't find a link, but Caltrans is, yes, a DBE certification agency.
Yeah, the website is, I always forget what it is. Is it UCP dot or CUCP, Michael? It's something.
CUCP.
Okay.
I get that one mixed up too. All right, thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, Michael, is there anything else you want to add? All right. How about, let's see here, who hasn't spoken on this question yet? Wayne, special small business, local business programs for the state that you haven't mentioned yet.
Just, we only do the small business and the disabled veteran business enterprise. I want to just tag along with what Sashi and Michael said about the CPUC, that they are also an agency. The CPUC is the California Public Utilities Commission. And in May, they added another certification qualification. You normally have, let's see, women-owned, minority, DVBE, LGBTQ+, and now if you are a disabled person, they have a special certification for that. So we're trying to be as inclusive as we can. And I think they're going in the right direction. They don't have a goal yet. The LGBTQ is 1%. They're going to go up to 1.5% next year. So, if you want to go that direction, there are, with the disadvantaged business enterprise, you're looking at high-speed rail, the CPUC, and Caltrans. Those are the three state agencies that honor the DBE certifications.
Excellent, excellent. All right, how about Nina? Any special small business or local business programs you haven't mentioned yet?
So we don't have any, unfortunately, we don't have any special small business or local business programs. But when we get to the next questions, we have some preferences that we'll talk about. So I just want to emphasize again, just make sure you get certified and stay certified. So I'll talk about the preferences as we get to the next question.
Perfect, thank you. And I probably should have combined these two questions, but we'll come back to that one in a minute. And then how about Carmen, for you, for your agency, since it's perhaps a little bit different than the others, or separate at least?
We don't have any set asides. We, as I mentioned earlier, we have a 25% mandatory goal in construction. So when a prime contractor wins one of our construction projects, there's a 25%, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, that they have to meet. It's mandatory. The other side of my job is tracking that, that they do meet that 25% goal. It is mandatory. We have been doing this program since its inception back in 2001. And so we capture this information and it's reported to our board of directors. Last year, it was a little slower due to the pandemic, but we usually surpass that 25% goal. And you may have heard that from Sashi and didn't understand what that means. But when a contract is won by the prime and the contract is worth $10 million, 25% of that goes back to a small business. This is the interesting thing. Where do they get the small businesses to be part of that contract? They can use our database as well as any other agency can use our database. They have limited viewing rights, so they never see the vendor's financials. They can pull those small businesses from our database to meet that 25% goal. Now, in our professional consultant agreements, there's also a 25% participation, because the difference is that most of our professional consultant agreements are task order driven or on-call basis that are coming from Metropolitan. They're driving the contract, so they often don't meet that 25% goal. Michael mentioned some interesting things that apply to Metropolitan as well. The contract in a large contract that's $10 million or whatever the amount is, the agreement between the prime and the sub is their contract together. Metropolitan does not get involved with any grievances that are happening between the prime and the small business owner. The thing is different is if the small business went after, let's say the procurement office called them and they supplied, let's say, a mask and sanitation things. That contract with the small business owner is between Metropolitan and the small business owner. So if they have, like as was mentioned, they can ask for a debriefing. They can ask about how they could do better and so forth. Those contracts are different, just like Michael said. So there's two different ways that you can ask for a debriefing. And with the big, large primes, there is not a debriefing. There's a lot of rules that apply, but right now, Metropolitan is going through a lot of changes. So you need to check their website. Will they later do a set aside for veterans or for minority women or any of that could change? Metropolitan does not have a minority or women-owned business certification. It's everybody can get certified under the Department of General, I'm sorry, under the state SBA. We use the next codes. That was brought up when Wayne mentioned that what they use, which codes they use to certify a small business. We use the SBA. It's a federal standard codes that determine if you qualify for a small business. So this goes back to each vendor studying about the agency. How do you get certified? What are the requirements to get certified? Which type of codes do they use to get certified? So it's a lot for a small business to get all this information today. Hopefully they're getting pieces and putting it together. All of us are listing our contact information. Give us a call. We're advocates for you, so call us so that way we can help you understand a little better if this is too much today for you. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Carmen. So we are going to wrap things up with one final question. So we can maybe try to get through this with everyone's answers in about the next 5 minutes or so. Then we'll open it up to Q&A from all of our attendees. So the final question that we have for our panelists is, what methods, goals, set-asides, preferences, etc., does your organization practice to promote greater opportunities for small and local businesses? And so, Carmen, you did mention a little bit about that, and Nina as well. So we'll start back with Carmen if you have anything else to add. Otherwise, we'll turn it over to Nina for her answer.
So I have been monitoring over $1 billion worth of contracts, and I can pull from our Planet Bids portal any information I need with regards to who was used during a project. I mentioned our CCAP program, which is the Contract Compliance Accountability Program, that captures all this information for large contracts. So I've been doing this for 16 years now, and I can pull one of the large construction projects to see what subcontractors are using, the scope of work they're doing, the projected amount of dollars. And then in our Planet Bid system, it starts calculating if they're meeting that 25%, what the dollar that is being spent. So this is a huge benchmark for Metropolitan because it is transparency and accountability that we mean business. In our large construction contracts over 100,000, or even in our professional consultant agreements, we can track if the subcontractor is being used or not. We do not have a good faith effort, which is unique. That's another subject, maybe for another panel, but we really track our small business usage.
Excellent. How about Nina?
Okay, so some of our goals is to meet or exceed the 25% small business and the 3% DVB participation goals. Last fiscal year, CDCR actually exceeded those goals. So we did 28.28% for our small business, and for DVB, we did 6.99%. So we exceeded, and we always want to go over those goals. So the thing is, we need you in order to do that. So let me go with some of the other questions in here. So do we have any set-asides? Like I said earlier, no, we don't. Do we have preferences? Well, some of the things that we do utilize, but you have to be certified. This is why we kept saying to make sure you get certified, is we use the small business option. Small business DVB option, which is a streamlined procurement method. There's no advertising, a minimum of 2 bids required for either 2 certified DVBs or 2 small businesses. Potential 1-day contract turnaround, no protests, flexible and convenient, and valued from $5,000 to $249.99.99. Also the reference, so another one is the small business preference. The preference is to help small business DVBs to be more competitive in the bid processing, therefore enhancing state contract awards directly or indirectly to small business micro businesses. The preference is only used to computation purposes to determine the winning bidder. The contract is awarded at the actually bid amount. So let me give you another one. DVB incentive. This is 1% to 5% preference. The DVB incentive provides California certified DVBs, I'm going to say, opportunities to compete for state contracting. Here's another one. Target Area Contract Preference Act. A preference program designed to promote employment and economical development in graphical areas determined to be economical distress. So think of those. So you need to make sure that you are certified. So there's one more. It's not really a preference, but it's a procurement method. So it's fair and reasonable. So that one, our buyers use that for transactions less than $10,000. So make sure that you are certified. And then CDCR practice and promotes opportunities for local communities to do businesses within CDCR. Like I mentioned earlier, CDCR utilizes the various programs, and I conduct various virtual and in-person outreach events to continue to promote CDCR's small business program. So it's very important you continue to go to these outreach events, make sure you know what you're doing, you make sure you know the businesses, the agencies that you're going to be working for, know some of these preferences, because when they come up in those solicitations, you got to know what you're doing. And you can always ask your advocate, because the advocates are your first point of contact, or you use those other resources that they can help you answer some of those questions. And they're free resources. Okay, back to you.
Excellent. Go ahead, Michael, if you want to go ahead and jump in for this answer.
Oh, well, okay. Well, aside from what Nina said, and I just to recap that, right? The state, it's me, myself, Nina, and Wayne work for the state of California and various agencies. We all share the same goals. We have the 3% disabled veteran business enterprise goal. This is one of the things we have. Of course, we have the 25% small business goal, but Caltrans, as I mentioned earlier, a 22.2% DBE goal. So disadvantaged business enterprise goal. The other thing that I think you asked about is set-asides. Well, there are set-asides for Caltrans. Caltrans has a minor B contract. Those are set aside for small businesses only, unless, of course, they can prove there is no small business doing the kind of work. And that is up to the number I have in my head is wrong. And Wayne can correct me because he has the new number for the 333,000.
Yeah. That's the old one, Michael. It's 388,000.
There you go. Thank you very much. So our minor Bs are 388,000. Thank you, Wayne. I knew I had the wrong number. And then, of course, the other set aside that the state uses to help small businesses and or disabled as veteran business enterprises is a small business DVB option, which basically is a set aside program where we get 2 quotes from either 2 small businesses only or 2 DVB. So it's a way that we can ensure that small business or veteran business enterprises are utilized in our procurements. The other thing that we have in regards to the state of California, in Caltrans, and what do we do? And Nina kind of touched on that, is that you have to participate in events like these to get the information that you can use to make proper decisions about your businesses. Who do I contact? How do I find information? DGS also, I'm stuck. For those of you who didn't already know, I used to work for Department of General Services alongside Wayne. We were longtime advocates. And then Nina, who works for corrections, we sit on the same, I used to sit on the same board that she did for the advocates throughout the state of California. So I get DGS and DOT kind of mixed a lot. Nevertheless, DOT, Department of Transportation, and as well as the Department of General Services, we have pre-bid meetings where we pit primes that are going to bidding on contracts to actually meet potential subcontractors or small businesses or DVBs. So primes have to be there. I just had one yesterday for the high-speed rail conference. All primes needed to attend, and they then met some of the potential small businesses that they were going to do as subcontracting for. Caltrans also has an outreach assistant program. So in regards to the DBE, we have a disadvantaged business enterprise support services contract. Now, the primary purpose of that is to provide training, assistance, and services to DBEs to get certified as one, and of course, assist in all other aspects, similar to what SCORE, the PTAC, and the small business developmental centers are doing. But we have 2 contracts in the state specifically set aside to perform and assist DBEs in these areas of certification and understanding how to do highway projects. So we have in the North region, it's RightSource, and in the Southern region, we have what they call MWS and Associates. The last thing that I have is that alongside DGS, we also enter into strategic partnerships with organizations like the one that's hosting today, whereby we provide sponsorship money so that we can do outreach to businesses like you in a environment like today, and assist their outreach so that we can meet more small businesses, disabled veteran business enterprises, and disadvantaged business enterprises, so that we should ensure that you get the messages that we are sharing today and help you include, hopefully, in our state contracts. So that's what this Caltrans is doing. There's a lot more out there. One of the things that I want to put as a caveat to the earlier discussion, who was that? The port, I can't remember who that was, but they use Planet Bids. DGS uses Cali Procure. There's one agency out there that can help you navigate both of these platforms. All you got to do is go to the Procurement Technical Assistance Center, otherwise known as PTAC. They have what they call bid match. Their system looks through our system, looks at the cities and the counties, and find you opportunities. So you don't have to spend time looking on mine, looking on theirs, looking here. They'll look everywhere for you for your opportunities. You got to sit down with them, set up a profile that you have, identifying your business, and they'll help identify probable contracts for you, or at least solicitations that you may want to bid on. So that's the kind of a hint that I have for you. I want to thank our hosts for inviting me. I want to say thank you for all the participants. I really am really happy that I get to see faces that I haven't seen in a long time and learn from the panel members. So just in case I got to run, which I might have to, I want to say good luck to all of you out there that are wanting to find contracts. And if we shared any kind of information that you can use today, please pay it forward with a random act of kindness for someone else. God bless everyone, just in case I have to. But I'll stay around as long as I can, but I already notified the host that I might have to leave early.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael. I don't want to leave Sashi out, but Sashi, if you could wrap everything up for you for Long Beach in the next 30 seconds, if there's anything else you want to mention for preferences, set asides, that sort of thing, and then we're going to open up to questions to give everyone at least 10 minutes to ask questions.
Okay, yeah, well, it's real brief. We don't have set asides. We don't have preferences. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't forget Wayne.
Wayne.
Save the best for last.
What else do you have to add that Michael hasn't mentioned yet?
Oh, well, that's for last.
Yes. 2 things with Michael. Number one, he mentioned the PTAC service with their solicitation program they have. I believe that costs, it's not free. Okay. The other thing is Michael is new to Caltrans, and he forgot to tell you that the state has a 3% DVBE goal, but Caltrans has a 5% DVBE goal.
That is correct. He is right.
Yeah. So Anyway, Michael's new, to Caltrans, so, yeah, just wanted to just remind him of that. As far as the state goes, Nina mentioned that her agency exceeded both the 25 and 3% goal. As the representative for the entire state, unfortunately, we did not meet our goals last year. There were two little things that you may have heard of caused that problem. It was called COVID and the fires. Normally, the state spends between 10 and $12 billion. Last year, we spent 21 billion. And so we only did 18% small business and 2.2% DVBE because of COVID and the fires. The other thing that Nina mentioned is our small business DVB emergency database that was created because of COVID and the fires. And so if you're a company that can provide goods or services in minimal time, then you definitely want to get registered. We just, it was created a year ago this month. We have actually awarded $1.5 million just in emergencies through this database. And I believe everyone's heard the expression KISS, keep it simple, stupid. That is our application. You need 5 things. You have to be certified, so you have to give your supplier ID, your name, your phone number, your address. There is 20 or 30, excuse me, different categories. You tell us what categories that you apply, and you give your description of what you can do, and of course, emergency number. The last thing I just want to say is you need to become a professional stalker. Everyone smile at that, professional stalker. These people need to know who you are. Go to these different events. Let them see who you are. Have that capability statement in hand, and then follow up once a month, once every 2 months. Hi, Nina, this is Wayne. Remember me? You should remember. You see what I'm saying, because what they're supposed to do is take your capability statement and send it to all of their buyers in their agencies. And so, out of sight, out of mind. So be a professional stalker. I'll leave you with that.
Excellent, excellent advice. Thank you so much to all of our panelists for all of your insight, your advice, really, really valuable information here. So I hope all of our firms and businesses attending are able to take away at least one little valuable nugget to take back with them, take back with you guys into your everyday business lives. So our plan was to have a little bit more time for Q&A, but we got lots of great information from our panelists. So if you do have a question, you can add it to the chat box, which you've seen the chat kind of be very active during the presentation, or you can raise your hand by clicking on the bottom corner button that says reactions, and there is an option to raise hand. So you can do that. And we have Diane and Teresa from DGS who will be monitoring and kind of just taking a look at the chat for the questions. And I do see a hand raised from Jean Franklin. So Jean, if you want to take yourself off of mute to ask your question, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for this excellent
Sure.
conference. I have a question regarding the liaison. I know in Northern California for DOT, there is RightSource, I think. And then I believe for District 7, where I am, I believe is MWS, if I'm not mistaken. I've contacted and reached out to MWS, both email and phone call, because I wanted to obtain the services similar to what RightSource provides, and they are excellent, excellent, because I've been attending some of these conferences and networking, and RightSource.
They talking and they.
So I really want to find out who do I get in contact next in order to receive the assistance that I'm looking for as a liaison? Thank you.
So who is the, let me see on the panelists here, who is the best one to take that question? Jean, where are you located again? I'm sorry, what was your location?
I think I would have
Jean?
Michael or maybe Wayne.
Okay,
No, it's definitely Michael. That was definitely a Caltrans question.
Yes.
Just to follow up, I would just be, just be persistent. Go to their website, see if you can get a phone number, or write them every day. Make sure that you actually have the right email address. That can be part of the problem too.
Jean's mic is
so
muted.
Jean, oh, I see.
Okay,
I
now,
see that.
thank you. My mic was muted. Thank you so much. Yes, I did. I went on to the website. And that's where I received the information from, was the website. So I sent an email and made a phone call and left a message. But I'll do as you suggested, Wayne, to be a professional stalker until I finally reach that individual. Also, one final question regarding Long Beach. Could you tell me again regarding doing business with Long Beach, because I'm located in Long Beach as well. I am on Planet Bid, but you mentioned regarding a website. Could you share information again very briefly about doing business with Long Beach? Thank you.
Oh, this is Sashi with the port. So yeah, I was referring to our website, the Port of Long Beach, shortened to POLB.com.
POLB.com?
Yeah, POLB.com. If
Gotcha.
you're registered in our vendor portal already.
Yes, and Planet Bid.
Yeah, so usually you would have to access the vendor portal through our website. That's always the best way the first time you do it. I don't know if our vendors do a bookmark and bypass the website for future access, but maybe you're already accessing it as you go to our vendor portal. Just to make sure that we're clear here, Planet Bids has over 100 clients. We all use the same platform. Their platform's the same for everybody, but you access through the agency portal, specific agency portal. So you have to register separately with each one. Is that how you're interacting with it?
Yes, correct. And I get notices from different agencies to register on their portal as well. But
okay.
Thank you. That's what you've answered my question.
Okay, excellent. And
you.
you're one of my matchmaking appointments, I see. So
yes,
we'll see each other this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Danielle, this is Diane. Before we go to Krishna, she has her hand raised, but we do have a question in the chat, and it's, do any of the panelists need or solicit financial services? So for example, small business lending, consulting, credits, access to capital.
Danielle, this is Sashi. So I need a clarification. Is he offering those services to the small businesses that are trying to get business with us? Kind of like I mentioned, they need to get capital to finance a contract. They need to know how to consulting with their accounting Is that
The answer, he just said yes. Yes,
okay?
I am.
So yes, so I think speaking for us, so he would contact those firms directly. The port wouldn't be part of that, but he could conceivably use the Planet Bids search function and outreach to market to the vendors in there. He could see how the construction bids go and see who the prospective bidders are and outreach to them. And because if somebody's going to win that bid, some of those firms that are on that prospective bidders might be just subcontractors, but they have to log in to see the bid, and they might need that financing to finance their portion with the prime.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for your answer on that one. And we'll take Krishna's question because this is the last hand I see raised. So Krishna, go ahead if you want to unmute and ask your question. And this will be the last one for our Q&A session.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Thank you for hosting this. This is really wonderful, useful information. I have two questions. One is about the business matchmaking in the afternoon. I registered for that, but I did not get or see any way to match with or select agencies I would like to talk to. I'm not sure if I'm missing some step there. And my second question is, we provide artificial intelligence analytics and IT services. Are there any additional or different steps or activities we should do being IT or being in these new emerging technologies than what was mentioned before about how we find or the steps that we take? Is it all hosted in Cali Procure? Are there additional? I know we have CMAS and other IT specific requirements. So are there some different things we should be looking at as an IT service vendor? Thank you.
For CDCR, we do have an IT advocate, advocate liaison. So if you want that information, send me an email and then I will provide that to you. We actually have two IT advocates, and it would be really beneficial for you to get in contact with them.
I can mention a couple of things about Metropolitan. This coming year, there'll be more bids with regards to IT where the smaller business could be a sub-consultant on those. And I mentioned earlier in part of my presentation that Met has an event coming up, I believe in February called Connect to Met, where we go out to a particular site and we do take our IT people with us to be part of the business outreach table, where you can personally talk to the manager and see what's going on. But it all goes back to that certification process as well, because if they're looking for staffing in our IT department, maybe that bid proposal is only 40,000. You won't know about it unless you're in our database. So there is more IT stuff coming up next year. Most of those bigger contracts in the multi-million dollars are won by primes that have that 25% small business goal. The other thing is, I believe it was Michael who talked about history. If you went into our bid opportunities and looked at our contracts and typed in the word the buzzword IT, you can go back, I believe it's 6 years to see any bids that could have entailed with IT services, and look at those bids and see what was the scope of work and what was the percentage of small business usage and who won the bid and so forth. So there's a lot to go into and navigate in Metropolitan system where you can get information to see about IT, landscaping, construction, innovation and so forth like that. Use our system. And if not, all of us gave you our contact information. Call us and we'll chat on the phone for a little while and see if anything rings a bell with you that maybe one of us has said and that we mentioned. So don't give up on us with Metropolitan. Wayne mentioned that they didn't meet their SBE goals. Metropolitan did not due to the pandemic because of distancing, 6 feet distancing in our construction. There were a lot of issues going on with safety, and safety is first with Metropolitan. So we did not meet that 25% goal. Close to it, but we did not. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you so much. That's going to wrap up our panel and our Q&A discussion. So Sandy, I'll hand it over to you for a last few words. We're only 5 minutes over, which is, we're in good shape. So I'll hand it over to you to close things out.
We're in perfect shape and we did an amazing job. The panel was spectacular. I thank all of you. I thank DGS for our partnership because we are, providing tools for our state's business to succeed. So with that, most of the panelists are buyers. So they'll be logging in their website, and the confirming meetings later on. So I look forward to see you from 2 to 5 p.m. this afternoon. And thank you so much. My panelists, I love you. Thank you. With that, we're closing the meeting. Bye.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's good to see everybody.
Great job, everybody.
I hope it's not the last one, Carmen. I know you're retiring, but we love you,
I'm going to miss you, Sandy. I'm going to miss you. I'll stay in touch somehow.
Okay.
Okay. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Sashi.
You're welcome. Thank you. Great job.